Hey everybody, it is Kellen Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited coming at you with another edition of Nitro's Take. And this one focuses in on Ring of Honor with their one and only pay-per-view for 2020. It went tonight on December 18th, 2020. Well, not live, but live to tape at least, from Baltimore, Maryland. It was Final Battle 2020. The event was taped on December 10th. In the ROH bubble in a closed studio location in Baltimore, Maryland. The exact name of the building was the UMBC Event Center, again, behind closed doors, and it was, a closed off environment, as much wrestling events are due to the pandemic. So a big story going into this card was a number of ROH talent testing positive for COVID-19 before entering the bubble for the end-of-year Final Battle 2020 pay-per-view and the end-of-year television tapings that were going on at the same time, kind of simultaneously to this. The four names were EC3, Bandito, Flamita, and Kenny King. They all could not compete tonight due to positive COVID-19 tests. So they were off of the pay-per-view. So what did ROH do? What did ROH booking do? What did they decide to put forth? Well, this is what we got. It was ROH Final Battle 2020, what we've seen tonight. Here's my take on the card. So I didn't get a chance to see the opening matches. I ordered through my cable provider, and they didn't start carrying it until, 7 o'clock our time, Mountain. I know that the first hour is on YouTube, yeah. So the first two matches of hour number one, which was for free, that anybody could watch, streamed on YouTube, streamed on Fights, streamed on Honor Club pay-per-view, you name it. But the cable pay-per-view didn't pick it up. We started at 7 o'clock and went with the rest of the show then. Kind of a bummer. The biggest thing that happened on hour one, which is kind of their quote-unquote pre-show, or at least the first hour of Final Battle, was a four-corner survival match for a shot at the ROH World Television Championship later in the show, and kind of an upset where Tony Deppen defeated LSG, Josh Woods, and Dak Draper in a fatal four-way, and got himself booked on the one and only Ring of Honor pay-per-view of the year, going after the ROH Television Champion, that is Dragon Lee. So that is a late addition to the card, Dragon Lee versus Tony Deppen one-on-one for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Cool stuff. The other match on the pre-show, according to the Wikipedia results, the Foundation tag team of Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus defeated Fred Yehai and Wheeler Yuta in a Pure Rules tag team match. I guess that's supposed to be kind of a it was a prototype, from what I've heard, of something that ROH could institute in 2021, potentially an ROH Pure Tag Team title somewhere down the line. I'll have to take a look and see that. I haven't seen that match yet to see how that looked, but very interesting concept, very interesting idea at least. Can't fault them for that. The show opens, and the opening contest is for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship. Kind of an oddball challenger team here of PCO and Mark Briscoe taking on Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham, the long-running Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Mark Briscoe using his contractual tag team title rematch without his brother here. His brother's up in the card and was involved in the storyline with EC3, and now involved in another match on the card with Shane Taylor. That was announced during hour number one. So Mark Briscoe finds an unlikely ally, a guy he's gone to war against all the time as part of Villain Enterprises with PCO and Brody King and that source. PCO, of course, his tag team partner Brody King is going for the Ring of Honor World Championship in the main event. So oddball tag team. Strange bedfellows. PCO, Mark Briscoe taking on the well-oiled Foundation unit of Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. Lethal in control of Briscoe early on. PCO and Lethal have a fun exchange. Says he will break Lethal's arm in half again. Yes, hyping back to storyline back in the springtime that was going on. Gresham has a pure title match later in the night as well, so he's double dipping. Yes, it was brought up at this point that no champion who has ever been involved in a double title defense scenario at Final Battle has walked out with both belts. So Jonathan Gresham trying to be the first man to do that. And, this is the first leg of it right here, this match. And if he can defend the pure championship against Flip Gordon later on, more of the same. He's created history for the foundation and for himself later on that night. We see double blockbusters on the outside by PCO and Briscoe. They're actually really jiving as a tag team. They did do some double team moves that were really cool. PCO crashes and burns on the apron on a back senton. A combination cutter by PCO by Lethal only nets 2. Doomsday Device by Lethal and Gresham, and a shooting star, and only a 2 count off of that. But an unforced error between Briscoe and PCO allows for the roll-up by Gresham at 12:50. Gresham and Lethal retain, and Gresham has leg 1 of history tonight. So, solid opener, and the Foundation keep the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Now, because of the 4 names that I dropped that tested positive for COVID-19 in the week prior to this pay-per-view, no 6-man tag title defense due to COVID-19, but we get a fairly decent replacement, a one-on-one that was made during Hour 1. Dalton Castle goes one-on-one with Ray Horace. Dalton has the boys with him, and this is a back-and-forth contest, but Ray Horace is doing the good lucha things. And for the finish, Horace hits the tornado driver and gets the pin in 9 minutes and 10 seconds. This was a great showcase for Horace, and Castle's slump continues on big shows, so it continues that storyline a little bit. But, man, Horace showing himself to a worldwide pay-per-view audience tonight that he is a player, and watch for more good stuff out of him in 2021. This is another lucha kid that has shown up in Ring of Honor that looks really, really good right now, and is 1/3 of the current World 6-Man champions in Ring of Honor. So there's a title with some lineage dating back to some AEW guys, current WWE guys, you name it. Next contest, another tag team contest. This one was The Righteous, Bateman, and Vincent with Vita Von Star taking on the OG Kingdom, tagging up for the first time in 5 years on this pay-per-view, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. It's awesome to see Bennett and Taven back together. Yes, I was a Kingdom fan about 5 years ago or so. I thought these guys were definitely on a fast track back to WWE with Maria in tow as their manager, but we ended up getting Mike and Maria in WWE, and we all know how that ended up. So it's awesome to see Mike come back to Ring of Honor, and I think this is a no-brainer, putting him back with Taven, and you can get Miles' storyline out of this. And this is the first leg of it right here, is the year-long feud, the year-plus long feud between between Vincent, Bateman, and Taven, kind of members of and associates of that second version of the Kingdom in Ring of Honor. Yeah, this is essentially the Devil's Rejects that he's created here with himself, Vita Von Star, and Bateman. It's kind of a little bit better than that sideshow thing that TNA did about 9 years ago, too, with Mike Knox and Tanea and, the Freak and whatever else. I vaguely remember that one. So Taven and Bennett actually looked really smooth in this match tonight. Bennett attempts a spear, but Von Star pulls her best Rebel from TNA, Melina from WWE with the splits distraction on the apron. That was pretty cool. The Grim Sleeper by Vincent on Bennett, no dice on the submission. Taven and Vincent have fun exchanges with Taven in control. The climax attempt by Taven, but a Grim Sleeper counters it by Vincent. The Kemper Special by Bateman only nets 2 on Taven. The Red Rum by Vincent only nets 2 on Taven again. The Spike Pile Driver on Bateman, but Taven hurts his knee there. Again, only a 2 count. Great drama. This is back and forth, and this is almost a fight without honor, but there's surprisingly no weaponry. This is just a straight up hard-hitting tag team match here. Bennett with a Spicoli driver on the outside on the apron on Bateman. The Aurora Borealis frog splash by Taven, blocked by Vincent, but Taven grabs a Koji clutch after an acid drop attempt by Vincent. Double team Aurora Borealis on the outside with Bennett kind of elevating Vincent to allow Taven from about 10 or 15 feet up off of the ring post down onto the padded ground, on the base of the ring, or not on the base of the ring, but on the floor beside the ring. That was crazy. That was one of the amazing gifable spots of the night. Just amazing stuff. And for the finish, Mike Bennett hits a pile driver on Bateman and a high-low Shining Wizard backpack stunner at 16-19 gives the OG Kingdom the 1-2 What an amazing match. I enjoyed every second of this one. This was my favorite match of the night by far, and I thought that this was definitely one of the best matches on the card, and in my case, yeah, I'll give that one match of the night just because of the back of the forthness of it. And I thought, there were a few moments there where I was watching that I couldn't tell who the winner was. So now, post-match shenanigans, Von Starr nails them both with a low blow, allowing Vincent to hit the acid drop on TAVEN. Then they zip-tie TAVEN to the ropes, and Vita chokes the life out of TAVEN. Bennett gets a block of wood placed between his feet and gets his ankles Pillmanized by Vincent. So now the storyline will be, hey, Bennett's out for a while with ankle injuries or whatever, and now TAVEN's going to go after Vincent again. So that feud continues going into 2021 and Ring of Honor, and I guess more and more to culminate at the anniversary show coming up in March. Danhausen versus Brian Johnson. If Danhausen wins, he gets a Ring of Honor contract. Johnson, he's just a heel. This is my first time watching Brian Johnson in the ring. He's just a heel with a bad attitude and good mic work. Think Ken Kennedy from 2005, 2006-ish SmackDown. Just without the Mr. Kennedy gimmick. He's, again, just a real loudmouth on the mic and good promo skills. Basically your old school, boisterous, Iron Mike Sharp-esque heel. The Danhausen gimmick, along with Warhorse, has been one of the fun indie gimmicks of 2020 for sure, and 2019, and it'll probably carry on to 2021 as well. Almost a quick pin for Danhausen off of the Mafia kick. They couldn't do the tequila spot that Danhausen does. Basically, he jumps up on the apron with a dazed opponent on the ring floor and does the dance from Pee-wee's Big Adventure on the bar set to tequila, and when it gets to tequila, he kicks the guy. So, kind of a shortened version of it. It was very funny still, to say the least. I don't think the Jim Cornettes of the world or the old school wrestling fans would appreciate it. So, if you're one of those, maybe skip this match. But, Ring of Honor has done some sports entertainment-y gimmickry in past years, as we know. So, it's a hybrid show, as it always has been. Johnson grabs a mic and goes full WWF heel Jerry Lawler on the crowd watching and everything, and it was glorious. The crowd at home watching. I enjoyed it very much. Johnson says he has worked his entire career to get to this point, says it's Mecca versus everybody. Oh yeah, that's right. Brian Johnson refers to himself as the Mecca. So there we go. Danhausen, though, hits a slingshot German from the ring apron into the ring. It was pretty spectacular. Again, check your gifs for that. It was very gifable. Danhausen hits the Goodnighthausen, and Johnson gets his hand on the ropes, so that only nets 2. Johnson then unloads the jar of teeth on Danhausen, hits his finisher, which is a big Yakuza kick, but the ref ends up getting some teeth in the eye at the same time because Danhausen was holding the open jar, and when the kick happened, the teeth kind of went everywhere, and the ref got some teeth in the eye or in the face or something. Danhausen, though, pulls an Eddie Guerrero and runs some paint on the microphone, and at 8:44, Danhausen gets a DQ win over Johnson. Basically grabs the mic and rubs some paint off of his forehead onto the mic sock, does the with the mic, and kind of lays out and sells it. The ref turns around after clearing his eyes out and washing them out, and sees Johnson holding the mic, sees the paint on the mic, and sees Danhausen writhing in pain, and DQs Brian Johnson. Danhausen gets his contract in Ring of Honor. Simple as that. Very funny. Much wow. It's always fun watching a Danhausen match. And it's nice to see him last longer than he did at Joey Janela's Spring Break 4 this year, too, because he was in a clusterfuck, and he wasn't in it for very long. So, Actually, no, he wasn't. He was in the Ricky Shane Page Open Challenge at the beginning of Joey Janela's Spring Break 4. He only did a walkout, and then he got jumped by the rest of the GCW heel faction that Ricky Shane Page is part of. So, yeah, he wasn't in the clusterfuck. He was in something else, so... Ring of Honor World TV title is on the line next, where we had Dragon Lee, the champion, with Amy Rose take on, who won the four-way dance to get to this part, Tony Deppen. Dragon Lee hasn't been in a ring since February 29th, 2020. Deppen milking his neck from the opener. Lee is all over Deppen early. A double stomp by Lee only nets 2. Deppen with an amazing dive to the outside. Only nets 2 though on the resulting pin. This is a back and forth junior heavyweight battle. Moonsault Northern Lights suplex by Dragon Lee. That was a wow moment. That was pretty cool. A code breaker by Deppen only nets 2. The double stomp in the corner by Lee only nets 2. Deppen only nets 2 with a huge knee. You get the feeling it's back and forth, back and forth. Poison Rana and Incinerator by Lee only nets 2, but Lee hits the Incinerator, and LFI retains the TV title. Dragon Lee wins. And I don't have a time on this one, unfortunately. I don't have it listed here either, but it was a quality match, and it was a lot of fun watching that for sure. Kind of cool to see Dragon Lee work heel, too. I'm so used to seeing him as a face, that coming back around and getting back into Ring of Honor now, around the show and that stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. They're doing a whole Inglobo Noble's heel faction over in Ring of Honor now, and it's Roosh and Dragon Lee, the brothers, as a heel faction, basically, running ruckshot. Next contest was one of these late additions to adjust and fix some of the open spots on the card due to the COVID-19 cancellations. Jay Briscoe taking on Shane Taylor. Late match signed to the card due to the COVID-19 cancellations. Huge right hand by Taylor on Briscoe to level Jay. A sleeper attempt by Jay, no submission though. The Marcus Garvey driver by Taylor only nets 2, but the finished welcome to the land, and Taylor finally puts away Jay Briscoe in a good pro wrestling encounter again. I didn't catch the runtime for that, and I don't have it listed on Wikipedia as of recording, but it was a good back and forth match. For short notice, these guys put together a very fun contest to watch, and just hard hitting, as we thought it would be, with two of Ring of Honor's premier athletes for sure. Both these guys are going to be in the Ring of Honor title picture in 2021, as they always are, and it was fun to kind of see this. Maybe this is a preview of coming attractions for next year. What shall we say about that? Put them down in the comments below. Ring of Honor Pure Championship on the line next. Jonathan Gresham, the champion, versus the challenger, Flip Gordon. Gresham trying to be the first man in Ring of Honor Final Battle history to defend the title. Gresham trying to be the first man in Ring of Honor Final Battle history to defend 2 titles in the same night. First time for the Pure title to be defended at Final Battle since 2006. It's the Octopus, Jonathan Gresham, versus the mercenary, Flip Gordon. Gordon burns his first rope break at 133 and uses his second rope break at 256. So he's down too early. Gordon locked in a hold at 7-11 and gets into the ropes. Gresham working on Gordon's arm. No more rope breaks for Gordon. He's out at him. An exciting back and forth sequence ends with a super kick by Gordon. Gresham, instead of kicking out, only nets 2 due to a rope break at 9:35, which was kind of a jaw-dropping moment. He looked like he could have, easily lifted the shoulder there, but instead he went for the ropes. Good psychology, good way to kind of even the odds there. Pretty funny. Gresham then counters the Kinder Surprise out of the corner, but hurts his knee doing so. The Fisherman Suplex only nets 2 from Flip. Dragon Screw DDT into a submit to Flip. The STF allows Gresham to use rope break number 2 at 15:45, and then the Falcon Arrow by Gordon into the submit to Flip. Gresham has no choice but to use rope break number 3 at 18:25, so both men are out of rope breaks at this time. They exchange chops, but Gordon hits Gresham with a closed fist. One warning from ref, but it creates an opening for Flip. Both men fight for advantage and roll to the outside. Gresham with free power drive forearms, and at 24:37 via by knockout. Gresham retains and makes history at Final Battle. Post-match, Flip doesn't shake Gresham's hand. So did we see the beginning of a heel turn tonight by Flip Gordon? Or is he just shook that he didn't get the W? Either way, Gresham makes history by walking out of Final Battle, defending 2 titles, never been done before. He's one of a club of 1 right now. So kudos to the Octopus tonight. 2 great performances. This one, of course, much better than the tag match, I thought. And this was a great example of the ROH Pure division, how it can basically work. It's a lot of fun seeing this concept come back, and one of these days on the channel, I promise, maybe over 2021 sometime, we'll look back at I believe it is the 2nd anniversary weekend. It is a fun show with a lot of star power, and still to this day a lot of current star power in that tournament, and a few guys that you look at them and are like, what the hell happened to them as well too. So yeah, stay tuned for that in 2021. That'll be a lot of fun to watch again for sure. It's one of my favorite Ring of Honor cards ever. So anyways, Ring of Honor World Title, the main event, Roosh with Amy Rose taking on Brody King. Well, Amy didn't actually come to ringside for this one, but she was in the opening video package for this. Roosh with a 19-1 record in Ring of Honor in matches with a pinfall or submission finish. He won the title back from PCO on February 29th, and that was his last match too in Ring of Honor because of the quarantine and the borders being shut and everything, and the hostilities between the United States and Mexico right now. Roosh, the leader of LFI, there's a hot start between the two of them. 11-5, the mark for defending champions at Final Battle, defending ROH champions at Final Battle, I should say. Brody King takes Roosh on the outside and throws him around. King, a big boss man slam, only nets 2. A big cannonball in the corner by King, only nets 2. Roosh then takes control on the outside. Roosh grabs a cable and strangles King with the cable. Then we get a big chop battle. These were just 2 big heavyweight wrestlers just chopping each other. It was like watching a UWF match from the 80s or something, like Terry Gordy and Dr. Death going one-on-one. It was amazing. Roosh gets a near fall after a superplex out of the corner. Another big chop battle after King mocks Roosh. Bullhorns attempted, thwarted by a King spear, and then the Gonzo bomb thwarted by Dragon Lee. La Fiesta del Ring nails King with the chair, and of course, La Fiesta is the father of both Roosh and Dragon Lee. So the family kind of coming together here for LFI, and it allows Roosh to nail the Bull's horns. 1-2-3, 16-13 by pinfall. Roosh retains. LFI is, at the end of the show, staged to be the dominant faction right now in Ring of Honor. But you look up the ramp at the end, and the Foundation hits the ramp post-match, and they stare each other down. 2:57:48 for a runtime. No titles changed hands at all during this card. All the champions retained, which is a rarity for an end-of-year card. Not seeing any new champions whatsoever, and I thought that this might be the one title that would change hands off of this, but it didn't. Overall, I am going to give this card an 8.25 out of 10, 8.25 out of 10. It was a lot of fun. The problem with Final Battle is it really draws on the live house crowd, and when there isn't any, this show kind of suffers a little bit. Plus of the cancellations and a lot of hype storylines and that stuff. A lot of people were looking forward to Jay Briscoe versus EC3. A lot of people were looking forward to seeing the 6-man titles defended at this show as well, and both were not on the card. So it kind of, that took away from it a little bit, not a lot. But those who were there showed up, and showed up big time. A few guys had some career nights tonight, that's for sure. Well, on the 10th, but it aired on the 18th regardless. Right, folks, later days, happy wrestling watching. See, I'm not plagiarizing from Ian Riccoboni. I got my own thing, man. Happy wrestling watching. See? And we will see you next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Take care, stay safe, and yeah, the next one coming up right after TLC on Sunday, WWE TLC, and I might have a surprise or two worked out for that one. Fingers crossed that it hopes up. We'll see what happens. Well, you know what I mean. Hopes up, folks. Hopes up.